Yeah, man. We are live. That's right. We are live for 179 consecutive weeks. Am I hearing an echo here? We are live for 179 consecutive weeks. Actually, 179 consecutive episodes. We're actually live for 300 and 100. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. You guys tell me. I'm losing count. I'm losing count, but it's hump day. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. I hope you're having a great start to your Wednesday. And it's almost become a tradition, huh? It's almost become the tradition. You guys are real chatty today. But traditions can be good, or rituals like turning on this sweet coffee from I Had Candles every Wednesday. Mm, let's see. Are we gonna talk about absolutely nothing like we did last week? The fat man wants to know. Probably. Probably, guys. Probably. Listen, if you guys do not send me the good, the bad, and the ugly, then I don't have any information for you. But let's see what's going on because you know what? We got a bunch of early birds chirping a lot here. I believe Mac was the first one. For some reason, I have it in my head, but StreamYard will delete your StreamYard will delete your comments for some reason sometimes. So Holly gets it today. She is back in first. She hasn't been there in a while. Good morning, Miss Holly. Tex Home Exotics. This guy, he's up bright and early. Look at this, Mr. Billy. Good morning, Mr. Billy. You're up bright and early. You usually don't come on until I put your video on in the outro. You freaking narcissist. You just come to see your own video. Uh-huh. Good morning, Mr. Canada. Tags, Pythons, how you doing? Green Line Morphs has been active. He's coming out the trenches there. It's nice to see you, Jay. What's up? Balls and strikes. Pythons, I'm sure it won't be long before he says something to annoy me. It will not be long at all. Now, will it? But it's okay. It's okay because kind of got used to the guy. He's like a wart. You ever had a wart on your finger? Kind of get used to it before you burn it off. Then when you burn it off, you miss it. You miss it greatly. Yeah, it's kind of like one of those. So. See a serpent stand rolling in late. What is this? Coming in for your lunch break. Dr. Joe, nice to see Dr. Joe. Got a bunch of pics. We're gonna show them in a little bit. We're gonna showcase Dr. Joe getting his hands dirty. Good morning, Shauna Corner, and of course, again, good morning to the fat man who looks like he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, he said the head Puerto Rican in charge." So I will excuse him. It looked like he said good morning to everyone but me. We're not having that. What's up, Macaro? Well, I read, I read Chris's comment. What's up, macaroni? Greg Soma 412 balls. What's up? And Brian was not on Island Time. Actually, the difficulty is you can't drive on my street right now from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. They are paving the street. So that created a little bit of a pickle. And then they decided not to do it yesterday because of the rain. So but I think 7:01. It was 7:01. I look at the clock. Excuse me, at the time that it actually loads and goes on. So I think the last 5 times you guys made comments, we started on time on 7 o'clock on the dot. So please, today was 7:01, and you guys go crazy. My gosh, I love the love. What's going on, Mother Elfin Balls? Nice to see you. Your ball python, Heather, you. We got Chain Reaction Danny up in here. What's up? What's up, buddy? Nice to see you too. All right. So let's see. A whole week. Shauna's the queen of the chats, like literally every one of them. Yeah, wasn't that Will's Hella Heat at one point? Having three screens on at once. Good morning, Val. Always nice to see you. I believe so. I believe that was the case there. So Troy says he's more like a hemorrhoid, a complete pain in the ass, not a wart. Well, a hemorrhoid is like a wart on the butt, no? Isn't that kind of like what it is? Fat man got money. Okay, well, thank you for the $20 super chat. I really appreciate that, sir. Thank you. $20 to talk about something, just something, for the love of God, something. Guys, we talk about something every week. I think he forgets that we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay. 60 minutes doesn't just fly by and we don't talk. We talk about things, right? We talk about stuff like what's going on in the world. Look at this. Look at this guy over here out there working out, sweating with the Samson Snakeatorium water bottle. You gotta love it. Shout outs to Carlos over at Elevated Morphs. What upper supper? We could talk about my concrete jungle, but it's been a rough week. Unfortunately, the Knicks, after an extremely hard fought postseason, were bumped. I'm not angry at all. Big time overachievers. I think at least three, maybe four of their starters at the end of the season were not starters in the beginning of the season. So just put that into perspective. Okay. These guys fought it out, made it tough every game, win or lose. Hats off. Basketball is exciting in the Garden. Again, we have not had a team this exciting in at least 2.5 decades. So hats off to you. The Rangers, though, they won they're on the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. The first game is today, and they'll be playing against the Florida Pythons. Yes, they are the Florida Panthers, but I just think that we should rename them the Florida Pythons, right? Because all the loose pythons that are out there. What's in my cup, guys? You know what's in my cup. I called my wife on my way back from the office and I asked her to go make me some Samson Snakeatorium, Samson's roast cold blooded caffeine. And that's what I'm drinking. And I hope you are too. And if you haven't met these guys, go check out episode 123 and you'll see who are the men behind Cold Blooded Caffeine. And again, thank you to those of you that support and in the process get to drink some really, really good coffee. Yeah. What's up? I had this happen to me last week, and maybe I can spare some of this super chat money. Open up my DMs. I never had much activity. I'm not putting the person on blast today. Okay. I'm not putting the person on blast because I don't know. I didn't want to. First of all, the Knicks didn't choke. That's first of all. The Knicks were so far deep in their bench due to injuries that and this is to Sea of Serpents talking junk out there. They were so deep in their bench that I think they pulled a player from the stands by accident. The Knicks were so depleted, okay, that they were on third string players, third, fourth string players. So yeah, they definitely didn't choke. If we had five starters on the court and failed to go on to the next level or the next round of the playoffs, then maybe you could say we choked. Having one starter pretty much carry the team the last 3 months of the season, yeah, sorry, buddy. Definitely didn't choke. And I don't think there's any sports commentator worth anything that will not agree that what the Knicks did this season hasn't been done by any other team, at least in the last 24 years, since the Knicks have done it, gone this far the last time. But yeah, no team has gone so far with one of their starters in the postseason. So blah 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 blah. Okay, blah 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 blah. So speaking of Will's hella heat, look at this. And what does he do? He comes in the room and says hello to Shauna, the one who's trying to take his title. But Shauna, you don't want that title. That title was podcast whore. It's not such a nice name, but it's nice to see you, Will. All right, nice to see you, buddy. Haven't seen you in a minute. All right, so apparently you guys got the same message too. So like I said, I didn't want to put him on blast because I assumed that, or I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt that what happened was his account was hijacked. But then when I started going through the photos, and for those of you that received it, did you start like going through his photos? Did you respond? Did you leave him on red? I just left them on red, went through the photos, and I was like, being judgmental, because that's what we are by human nature. And I'm looking at the photos and I'm like, ugh, I could see this guy just throwing it out there to a bunch of people today and hoping somebody sends it back. And good-natured people sometimes fall for these antics. Again, I don't know if his page was hijacked or not. Okay. But yeah, it just seems the comfort level in asking others for money today is so inappropriate. Um, and again, I think it just goes back to us not punching people in the face. Like, you have to have a real comfort level to ask someone for $1, nevertheless 20, nevertheless 100. And that's the world we live in today, where people do it so freely. It's very scary. All right, guys. So just a reminder, warning: there are sometimes explicit lyrics, uh, explicit language in this podcast due to the Morning Misfits. There's a reason why they're called misfits. For example, if you cross that line, you just may fuck around and find out. I thought this was an awesome sign. It looks like the what was it, ADP, ADT? I forgot what the security company is called, but protected by FAFO, 24-hour surveillance, Second Amendment. Tell people all the time, you don't have to worry about my dog. You have to worry about my aim. Is it good this week? Is it bad this week? Well, just use a shotgun, guys. You use a shotgun, there's nothing to worry about. Just gotta like get them in that range of the wall. I got pulled over by state troopers a couple days ago. I noticed when we crossed each other, they were gonna pull me over. I was like, oh boy. And when they go, you're coming opposite traffic, and I was as I was driving towards them, they were already going wide. It was one lane on each side, and they were already going wide. So that's that turn wide to make the U-turn. And I'm like, oh man. So I look down, and it looks to me like I'm doing 69 and 55, which is quote unquote acceptable. Apparently I wasn't. So when the troopers pulled me over, they do the whole, why we pulled you over? No, officer, I don't. And they claimed I was doing 73 in the 55. Now that's a no-no. That's worth going to court. 70 in 55 is not, well, 70 is, 69 isn't. Kind of want to set the cruise control. I didn't set the cruise control, and I was drinking my coffee, and it was tasting pretty good. So I don't know if I got a little heavy on the pedal, but yeah, I don't even think they clocked me. Do you think they clocked me? Coming opposite traffic, we're both in motion. Do you really think they clocked me? Or did he just assume I was doing 73 miles an hour? Anyways, I'm not gonna mention any names, but I dropped some association, let them know I know people in big places, and They told me to have a good day and to slow down. So I do want to shout out the person that is in this reptile community that made that happen. Thank you. I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you so much. All right. Let's see here. You guys are doing wimpy. Let's see. This just shows you the demographic of the people that watch this show. Okay. I'll pay you tomorrow for a hamburger today. Isn't it? I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today, which was wimpy from Popeye, right? I believe that was it. All right. 15 over can be written up as reckless driving in New York. It was reckless to mass message people. If you got $100, if it takes me 5 minutes to send out 100 DMs, is that where we get capped on Instagram? If I sent out 100 DMs on Instagram asking for money and it took me 5 minutes and one person sent me money, was it worth the effort? Hmm? Yeah, I think so. Most states, 20 miles per hour is over the state limit. And the reality is, it comes down to money. And that's why that law will be there, whether it's 15 miles, 20 miles, because if the fine is not worth the time, they won't write the ticket. That's why you won't get a ticket for 2 miles over the speed limit in a 55. It costs the county, the state, the town, the city. It will cost them more money to have a police officer have to go to court to discuss that than they're going to get from the ticket. So the county actually loses money. So yeah, know the rules, know the laws. So that's what that is. So as we continue talking about nothing, do me a favor, go smash the likes because what other show could talk about nothing and have you still keep coming back 179 weeks later? So go smash the likes and crush the subs, you mother blubbers. But we are going to get into the vendor spotlight, which we talk about every week, which I consider the good. I stole these photos from Balls and Strikes. And obviously, apparently, and I hate when StreamYard does this, but it seems as if they deleted Balls and Strikes photo. Oh, great. Good job. So I stole this from Balls and Strikes. He had posted these. Obviously, he posted a photo of his setup, which is a beautiful setup. And we've seen it many times. So I guess it's okay that StreamYard deleted it. Maybe that's what it was. They thought we were showing it too much. But I really like the displays at the Charleston Repticon to see people are taking pride in what they're doing and that they're continuing to grind it out and make it work. I think that's really, really awesome to see. Um, I don't know these people. Obviously, they must be down south, South Carolina. But again, I just thought that it was great to see these nice, clean, attractive, eye-catching displays out at the Charleston Repticon, and I hope everyone did well. I hope they all made money. This tiny table. Now you notice most of the people, and it looks like they were behind Balls and Strikes. The noodle soup, the noodle group. Excuse me. I've never heard of the noodle group either. Look at they did one table, and they maximized that space, and I just love their entire design. I love the color scheme. I love the pattern. Their logo is simple but blends in. They did some contrast there. I would want to go to their table. I would want to buy something for them. So huge, huge kudos and shout outs to the Noodle Group for making it happen. Look at that. I thought that's really, really cool. Do you guys have a favorite display when you go out there? I know when I used to we used to do a lot of the Northeast shows. Um Castro's Constrictors. He stood out. He definitely stood out at these shows for a while. So do you have a favorite display. I'm not talking about the product, the inventory, the genetics, the person. They could be a real idiot. But do you have a favorite display? Fat Man Nation says, I made fun of the Noodle Group for that dumb name, but visually they fucking crushed it. Yeah, they definitely did crush it, man. They definitely did crush it. So Will's Hella Heat brought it back to the cops and said, all the cops I know do the 7-mile-per-hour rule. I think again, it depends on, are we talking about street? Are we talking about different speed limits? Okay. Yeah, going over 7 miles an hour in a 15-mile-an-hour zone is understandable. But 7 miles an hour in a 55 or a 65, I don't think so. And I think now, and it may be Texas, don't quote me on it, but the speed limit is factual. The highest speed limit in the United States of America today is 85 miles an hour. So I'm cool with that. I'm definitely cool with that. Chris Blocker says he once got pulled over riding his Harley with no tags. He pointed at the tag on my bike. He then said I was speeding. I said, you doubt that because I was following my dad and pointed at his car. He let me go. I think they have to prove that they clocked you if they got you for speeding. So Noodle Group photo. Yes, Noodle Group photo, yes. I thought the Noodle Group crushed it, definitely crushed it. So let's see. Will Hella Heat. Will says next level is my favorite displays with the built-in heat and thermostat. Oh, you're talking about the actual display cases. Okay, that's cool. Definitely cool. Joe says I used our yearbook boxes in our setup. Do what you gotta do. And that's what I'm talking about. No excuses. No excuses at all. Let's go see who else was vending this weekend. Souls Balls, he let us know about the Nassau Reptile Expo. He was out there doing his thing. Okay, so congratulations to Souls Balls, who actually has one of my snakes. He was talking about bringing it down, but where he wants to meet is still like an hour and a half, 2 hours away from me. More like an hour and a half. It's got to be 3 hours driving, a lot of gas, time. Still be cheaper to just ship me the snake, all right? So we'll talk about that. But shout out to Souls Balls. And also at the Nassau Reptile Expo, we had my man Drumboa. He was there with SRY Exotics. That's his homie. He covers for him sometimes. And they were doing their thing at the Nassau Reptile Expo as well. We spoke about Reggie's Urban Jungle for a while. We've been talking about this event for over a month. And the reason why we highlighted it is we have a ball python vendor at a dog show. So we have been preaching thinking outside of the box for a while now. This is thinking outside of the box. This is not making excuses. This is trying something different to get a different result. So shout outs to Reggie. He had a good day. He sold a few animals. He was the only ball python vendor there in the room. And the reality is, gosh, I'm willing to bet at least 80% of ball python owners own dogs. How many of you in the chat own dogs? Anybody sees this show afterwards, do me a favor in the comments, leave what kind of dog or dogs you have. Because I'm very confident at least 80% of us ball python people have dogs. I'll put money on it. Okay. Now, I could put any amount of money on it because we're never going to be able to figure that out. But shout outs to Reggie. He did his thing. Again, no excuses. Let's move animals. Let's make money. So for those of you that are doing this and not making excuses, I think that it is really, really helpful. And we need to expose more of it to the community, because as we talk about growing the community or even just sustaining some of the success that took place the last few years, you have to think outside of the box. What worked during the pandemic what worked during a time where people were receiving stimulus checks and free money is not going to work today. Okay. And this happens in any business. So, whatever business you have, you always have to be aware of trends, get ahead of trends, or start trends if you want to sustain that success. So, it was really, really good to see people thinking outside the box. H&H Python says, oh, I missed the comment. That's so smart. Bully breeders make good money. And yes, there is a tie in to reptiles for some. Definitely, definitely. All right. Uh, so Chris, I don't know if he named his dog asshole. I do. The nice one passed. Only have the asshole now. Um, my male passed away. My male pit bull passed away last year, right before Christmas. It was definitely sad. He died in my arms. I was happy to be there when he passed, but it was just so sad. Like he literally took his last breath in my arms. It was definitely a sad time. My wife and I have been together for 17, 18 years, and he was with us 13 of them. So it's vice versa. He was the loved one. My female is just a nasty old I don't even know, like, who could you refer her to. She doesn't do anything but sleep, piss and shit, and she'll piss and shit where she wants, when she wants. She has no bowel control. And what are you gonna do? She gave us loyalty for 13 years. So uh so I'm not mad at her. All right. But I'm sorry that your dog passed away. Balls and strikes. We love our dog. Let's see here. Clear sides make a huge difference when you are busy at a show. Okay. So you're arguing that the next level displays are nice, but you can only see stuff if you're standing right in front of them, and then your comment was the clear sides make a huge difference. So I just, from a sales point of view, I just want you to look at this perspective. I'd rather have them standing right in front of me. You want to you want to pull people. You have to remember, especially the ball python breeders that are at a reptile show, that 90% of the vendors are both python breeders. You have to have them standing in front of your table. So you have to find ways to draw the people to your table. Okay? So you don't want something that someone can say, I don't want anything over there," and you don't even have the opportunity to make the sale. So me, I would prefer having to have a setup that would bring people right in front, because curiosity, and they're gonna want to see what's in your cases. So that's just my take, my perspective. Okay. Uh the vendor that probably made the most money in Charleston was the vendor selling English bulldog puppies. I know they made around 15K. Good for them. Heather has three German. She has three: a German Shepherd, Saint Dane, and a Pomeranian Basenji. Basenji. I don't know what a Basenji mix is. I know Bijan. I don't know what that is. So Chris calls him an asshole because when he comes home, I can tell he was on my bed. The fitted sheets are pulled off the corners. uh, what else we got here? Look at this. Look at this. Four dogs. Okay, Danny has a Lab, Shepherd, Chiweenie, and Chihuahua. Kara has a pit and a little beagle. Um, Two pits and a cane corso. I've seen your Connie Corso. I've seen this guy. I've seen this little guy. Green Line Morphs J has a beautiful little pitty there. Razor's Edge Bloodline. Nice. Mechamorph has a male pit bull, passed in my arms on January 25th, and we are getting a Dogo a Dogo Pit Rottweiler pup Sunday. Ooh, I wonder what that looks like. That's interesting. It's gonna be a badass dog no matter what. You, sir, with the lack of experience vending with argue. Well, for the record, I do not have a lack of experience vending. I don't vend at reptile shows because for me, okay, and shame on me for that. The return on investment is not worth the time it will take for me to do a show and do it correctly. That's just me. Okay, that's just my reality. As far as vending at shows, oh, I mean, just when I ran a flooring company for 5 years, I did 150 million in sales. Um, I had the number one sales force in the country with the highest margin and highest closing percentage. So I know a little bit about sales, just a smidge, just a smidge. So yeah, if you think it's better to have people looking at your product from a distance and being satisfied that they don't want anything there instead of having them right in front of you, where you have an opportunity to sell them. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think you're gonna do too well with sales with that mentality, buddy. If there are a couple people standing right in front of your table, lingering, others will walk on by because they can't see what's in your displays. With click, they can. So again, so guys, I say it all the time. If you want, I can set up a sales training, to help you out with little pointers because the things that you're talking about are very easily manageable. If that is the case, where you have people lingering, number one, people lingering is not a bad thing. If you go back to the club days, Studio 54, Limelight, Palladium, all of the trendy clubs in the 70s, 80s, 90s, there's a reason why they had the red rope. There's a reason why you saw people outside. No one wants to go to an empty club. So that line draws people in. So when you have people there, other people want to be there, or they want to know why those people are there. So that's number one. You want people by your table because people bring other people. Number two, you can control that traffic, right? So having someone, you don't want that tire kicker in front of your table for 20 minutes that might purchase the $80 snake. You want to be able to move them. Okay. Have a great day. I love you. You want to be able to move. You want to be able to move them. So you have something on your table where you can pull them to the side to talk to them, or you pull them away where you can free the space. You should be able to control the traffic at your table. Again, standing behind the table, just standing there, not engaging, not trying to sell, not questioning the needs of that person in front of you or what they're looking for, what they're hopeful for. Yeah, you're never gonna be successful that way. So there's ways to control all the traffic and everything at your table. Trust me. Wow, look at this. They have a pit, Doberman, American Bully. But yeah, look at that. It's awesome. Awesome to see all the dogs out there. What else were we talking about? Let's see here. Dr. Joe. I don't want to get stuck on sales right now. Again, if you want, it's something that we can discuss. And I wouldn't have a problem. Like, gosh, I would take a challenge. I would take a challenge to vend at someone's table to see if I sold more animals than they sold at their own table. I'd take that challenge. I've sold multiple snakes at snake shows for other vendors lingering at their table and helping. So yeah, I definitely take that challenge. That'd be pretty cool, no? So Dr. Joe, look at him. Look at how awesome he is looking here. Okay, this was at the Lone Star Reptile Expo. And gosh, he's looking sexy, Dr. Joe and Kingdom Pythons. But if you look, one of the things I really, really enjoyed about the photos was number one, the energy. He is exuding positive vibes. He looks like he's having a great time. Okay, and I think that we forget about that too, because for a lot of people at these reptile expos, this is their first time meeting reptiles, right? This is their first time having this experience with these animals. We are ambassadors at these shows if you think about it, right? So to see that energy and that enthusiasm coming from Dr. Joe and all the photos is just amazing, and it's definitely something that you should want to emulate Okay, this is the energy that you should have at your tables when you're vending. This is the energy that you want. You want to pull people in, you want to pull families in, you want to pull the kids in. And I make fun of all the people that look like Toys R Us at these shows with all the toys at their table. But if you could snag the kid and you get the kid at your table, that's when you can work on the parent or try to put the kid into a ball python, because I think the ball python's a great introductory snake. Another thing is we talked about doing things differently than the others. Why would I come to your table instead of the others? Dr. Joe had his daughter actually drawing people at the table. I mean, gosh, that's thinking outside the box. I didn't get into the details with him. I don't know if they sold the drawings. I don't know if they gave them away for free. I would have sold the drawings, maybe $5, maybe $10. I would have thrown them in with a sale to encourage a sale. I don't know, but thinking outside the box, and kudos for that, and obviously making people happy. I know Ron BBM, he takes photos with his ambassador snakes, and they take the photos for I think $5 each, and or $2 each. I forgot what it was, but at the end of the show, just in photos with an ambassador animal, they made a few $100s. Actually, they made more money having people take photos with that animal than they would have made selling that animal. So it's pretty impressive. But yes, again, shout outs to Dr. Joe. This is what we want, guys. This is the energy you should have. If you don't have this energy, if you don't have this level of engagement at your tables, this is something you should work at. This is something you should aspire to be. And again, then the time management, then the traffic management, then everything else comes into play where you would learn how to manage it. Again, shout outs, Dr. Joe. Great job. Great to see what you did using your yearbook case boxes as display cases, etc. But yeah, definitely terrific to see that. Um, we've had Dr. Joe on shows. The next person as well. We had him on a show not too long ago. His name is Eric um, uh, Carney, Carney, and Eric is out of Kansas, and we've seen he did the show with us because when I came across him, I believe it was Facebook. He just had this positive attitude and energy. And if you watch that show, he got really good feedback. My DMs on people that have brains were like dead on, like, this is what we need. We need more people like this. So the one thing I like about Eric, not that he's a Kansas City Chiefs fan, I definitely don't like that. But I like the fact that this guy doesn't hold on to inventory. He sells a few hundred ball pythons a year. This is a garage sale that he participated at. Okay. This is a garage sale. Got the tent to keep the sun out the animal off the animals. They're in deli. He doesn't do fancy display cases or anything. They're still in the deli cups and the plastic storage containers. The whole point of the matter is, okay, no excuses. Two different types of people in this world: those that make excuses and those that make it happen. And Eric is always finding a way to make it happen. So huge shout outs to all of you that were featured this week on the vendor spotlight. You are the good in the community. You are the ones that are helping um, grow the community. You are the ones that are helping sustain this little tough time that we're having, and I do appreciate you for it. Don't forget, if you're in Canada, you guys have the Calgary, the HREF Reptile Expo in Calgary next week. Okay. And I'd love to see, gosh, I'd actually love to go to one of those, to tell you the truth. So we'll see. So Dr. Joe said if they bought a snake from any vendor, they got a drawing. What the hell is that? This guy buy a snake, get a free drawing, and it doesn't even have to be from me. Well, I hope that brings you much success and post show sales. Okay, all right, post show sales. And it looks like Holly got a chance to stop by and see Dr. Joe. That is so awesome. I don't think we got that. I don't think we got anything for that. So I've never been to an expo, so sorry if this is a dumb question, but don't people just look at all the tables anyway? Not a dumb question, but sometimes it could be overwhelming. You can go to a reptile expo, couple of things that has bad layout or multiple rooms. So some people may not even get into any of the rooms. If somebody just purchases an animal, first 20 minutes in there, they may leave and not get to any other tables. So there's a lot of factors. That's your goal, is that the people come and enjoy all the tables. But a lot of the shows have so many ball python vendors. It's kind of like, well, once you've seen one and you've seen, oh, this one has pretty colors, that pretty unless you are a vendor looking for something specifically, it could get overwhelming. So, but that's pretty cool. Will's Hella Heat says, I think Brandon Nixon did that at Tinley, had a little table at someone's booth and outsold the one with a full row. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. That's the goal, isn't it? Isn't the goal to sell animals? Isn't that the goal? Because some vendors I've seen at shows, it almost seemed as if the goal at every show was to make the excuses why they didn't sell animals. When I was with other vendors that made thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Okay, I was with vendors at a show, and we're not talking big names. Okay, we're talking noobs, as a matter of fact, that made $6,000, made $8,000 at the show, and then the seasoned veterans, not one sale, or didn't even make enough to cover the hotel and the trip. Okay, so that's the goal. The goal is to make sales, not to make excuses. Two types of people: those that make excuses and those that make it happen. Make it happen. Make it happen. So that's awesome to see. Great to see that you people are finding ways. It is difficult to make a sale at a reptile show with so many other people selling reptiles. Pat yourself on the back. Karashay says we have a buy, bringing them to the locals farmers market. Hold on 1 second. Let me take this. Take this off. Okay. Let's see. What is she saying? I was gonna bring my pods last year, and they said I could, but I'm lazy. Well, shame on you. Two types of people: those that make excuses, those that make it happen. Phil Snyder, I'm making excuses. I'm late. Well, you know what, Phil? You made it happen. Late, but you made it happen. Good job, buddy. Val lives under a rock. She wants to see everything. Will's Hella He says, Val, you should find a breeder at a local expo and you just stand at their booth and dance like your videos. So it seems like Will's Hella Heat is watching Val's videos. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Dr. Joe says we sold 9 snakes. Students were so excited. That is awesome. Forward Motion Reptile says selling normals is hard. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I mean, selling a normal or wild type or a classic, whatever you want to call it, to a seasoned veteran or to a breeder might be a tough one, right? Unless it's a quad head. But to the average person who's just saying, hey, that's a cool little rock with a heartbeat, a normal should be easy. I mean, especially when you can literally sell them for $30 and be happy, right? So Phil is a doer. Get it done, baby. Get it done. So yes, so that's definitely I don't know. There's a passion that's involved with what we do, and this passion causes good, bad, and ugly, right? And that brings us to a topic of the day. It was actually a very weak entries or topics sent to me. There are a couple of topics that we'll discuss in the future, and I do want to thank the guys that sent them. They just didn't work with this show. A couple of weeks back, I agree. If Troy says if you are having trouble selling normals, you have them priced too high. I agree 100%. I remember, like I said, when Samson and I first started and realized, hey, let's make some money off of this, we purchased 3 normals for $100 or $90, 3 adult breeder females from a UPS truck driver. I met him in his UPS truck. That's right. They don't deliver snakes. That's what you think. And we made thousands of dollars off those 3 snakes. So just put that into perspective. Cost us $100 to make thousands of dollars off of those 3 clutches. So if you can't sell a normal, you definitely have them priced too high. I have a few normals I can't seem to move, $25 each at expos. It might be tough though, right? It might be tough at an expo to sell an animal. That there's just so many, to select from. I don't know. That's something that I would look more into you, introducing somebody to the community and bringing them in. So you also have to look at this. A normal, how much is it going to cost you to feed that animal for a couple of months, right? So if you have an opportunity to unload it for anything, you're making money by saving money. So I've had our normal for 15 years. It was a gift to my oldest daughter. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, guys. So in conversations, whatever the case is, figuring out what we were gonna do for the show, and we decided we're gonna circle back to something we started talking about a few weeks ago. I know on one of the shows a few weeks ago we talked about this topic where the mayor, right? The mayor, Bill Stegall, had ruffled some feathers. He co-hosted a show, and after the guest, what is it? Forgot the guest. Ben Bioscience LLC, some shit like that. I'll get a few now. Um, that after having them on the show, the host kind of cruel, right? They had him on the show, all smiles, everybody's cheering, laughing, all good stuff, and then they decided to kind of crap all over him, like, oh, he's a fraud. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He has nothing to stand on, whatever. So that kind of wasn't cool. Where literally you invite somebody to be on your show and you don't attack them directly. You wait for them to get off the show to talk smack about them. Me personally, I'd rather talk smack to you directly, but it's not how it works. So, and I'm sorry, it's not Ben. It's Bruce Carpenter. Bruce Carpenter, and the name of his company is uh something. You guys have it? Any of you guys have it there? I don't know. It's tough. Sorry, I got stuck in this letter here. So now, and I even joked about it. I know that Bill was in Chris Eaton's live chat on a show, and I even joked that I think he gave $50. I think he did a $50 chat, super chat. And I told him, you should be saving that money for your lawsuit. We just chuckled at that. Um, let's see here. That's a chicken shit move. Yeah. So my thing in 179, actually in 379 episodes, right? Because we're talking about all the shows. In 379 episodes, we've confronted people. We have put people on the spot and we've disagreed, etc. I don't agree with, smiling and everything's good, and then as soon as you walk away, he's a fraud or he's full of shit or whatever the case is. I definitely don't agree with that. I'd rather you be there when I tell you you're full of shit. I'd rather you be there when I call you a fraud. So yeah, definitely. Will's hella heat. There you go. BMC Bioscience LLC. A lot of CCCC. Uh so we had talked about this, and it's back. So next step took place. So the next step took place, and that next step was this letter that was sent to Bill Stegall. And it's kind of sad, to tell you the truth, that we're even having this conversation, threatening lawsuits. I mean, again, why don't we just punch people in the face anymore? It's a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper than a lawsuit. It's a lot cheaper than going to a lawyer, to have them draft a letter. I don't think I don't think this will result in a lawsuit. Um, I don't think it'll result in a lawsuit. I think that it'll fall flat. I've been threatened lawsuits on more than one occasion. I don't know if you guys recall. Sean Bradley had made a post on Facebook threatening to sue me. Also, that inbred guy from Texas, that's like some type of fake cop that Sean Bradley had interviewed. He had threatened as well, and obviously those things didn't go anywhere. You can sue anyone for anything in this country. Okay, you can sue anyone for absolutely anything in this country, um, which is kind of sad and scary at the same time. Let me try to read this letter to you so you can get an idea of what's going on. It's just that this doesn't seem to open up much. Not even when I stretch it out, and I'm blind. I'm like Fu Manchu here. This was from the Law Office of Briscoe Kane, PLLC. What a cool name, though, Briscoe Kane. I can see that being the name of a TV show, Briscoe Kane. Did you see Briscoe Kane this week? All right, dear Mr. Siegel, my firm represents Bruce Carpenter in the above referenced matter, in hopes of resolving this matter amicably rather than through litigation. I am reaching out with an earnest request that you correct and clarify the defamatory statements made against Mr. Carpenter. Guys, this is over a Reptile podcast, by the way. Okay. Reptile podcast, couple of thousand views. And we're having threats of litigation. While the slanderous and libelous statements that Mr. Carpenter has collected of yours are numerous, one of the more egregious statements you have made are those in which you have called Mr. Carpenter a fraud. The truth is, Mr. Carpenter is an actual scientist. He has a bachelor's of science degree in mechanical engineering. So why wouldn't he know about snakes, huh, guys? As well as masters of science credits in 2 other subject matters from Penn State and Purdue. There are definitely some grammatical errors here. He has practiced in the United States Department of Defense Laboratory as a senior engineer, parentheses, scientist, for 34 years. He has an extensive experience in scientific writing, research, test planning, and execution. So why wouldn't he be an expert on snakes, guys? While his passion for herpetology began in 91, and he has been breeding snakes since 94, he merged his scientific background and love of python breeding together in 2020 with the founding of BMC Bioscience LLC. Moreover, BMC Bioscience LLC has multiple agreements with other herpetology experts in the green tree python keeping community and is engaged in active research green tree pythons. As you can see, your public assertion that Mr. Carpenter is a fraud is patently false. Similarly, your attack of Mr. Carpenter's work by saying he's full of shit and that there is no science in chondros are also patently defamatory. The law presumes certain categories of statements are defamatory per se, including statements that unambiguously charge a crime dishonestly, fraud, rascality, or general depravity. Yeah. What? I say, and you tell me, okay? I said anybody can get sued, and Val said, "Can I sue you for being too charming?" Aw, that's so cute. That's so cute. Yeah, I guess, all of this charm is just might be too much to handle, so I get it. Uh, proof that having a college education doesn't equal real world experience. No way. Yeah, you're definitely right about that. Those Conjo people are uptight. Sounds like too much info and detail for a law firm to write in a letter. Generally, they are cold and to the point. So there have been the suggestions that the letter was not written by the law firm. I was gonna call. I just got so caught up just to confirm whether or not they had written the letter. I wouldn't say it has too many details. I would think that the grammatical uh errors and the other situation with the letters is because you have people write it for the lawyer does not type these letters up, guys. Right? He has legal secretaries, he has clerks, he has paralegals. Someone typed the letter for him that did not catch the little blue lines or the little red lines. Master of Science, not capital, and hyphens elsewhere. I get it. I get it. I don't know. I say USARK fundraiser. I mean, gosh, throw them in the ring. Why don't we do a tag team? Bill Stegall co-host a show with Chancleta Guy. Why not have a tag team match? Him and Chancleta Guy against Bruce Carpenter and someone else. I don't know. One of Bruce Carpenter's fans. I don't know. Put them together. Let's have a tag team match. What do you guys think about that? Shit. I think that would be actually pretty cool to see them have a match. The reality is, I don't think there is enough documented research on chondros right now that would support some of the statements that Bruce Carpenter made, and I think that's where everything kind of stops. Is that I don't know if the sample number is large enough to use any of that scientific data, but what I do know is that both these men are scientists, and but neither of them, I don't think neither of them are specifically in the whole snake world, right? In the whole chondro world. I don't think I know that they breed them, they're in them, they're researching, they're learning, but that's not their field of study. But I think what we should look at is that for them to be scientists, even in other fields, there's just a process, and it's research, it's reading, it's scientific method. And if they can apply those same practices to what they're researching with the chondros, then we should be fine. What I think we kind of lose sight of, though, is Bill Steagall's an actual doctor, and it's funny. I was yesterday days old when I learned that an anesthesiologist is a doctor. Forgive me, but I thought an anesthesiologist was just like a technician, like ultrasound or something else like that, and they're actually doctors. And Dr. Stegall is a retired anesthesiologist. So we have a battle of the brains going on here, and when these PhDs and MDs start going at it, gosh, what kind of world are we living in? We don't have that many big brains in this reptile community. So I think the few big brains that we do have need to find a way to get along. Okay. I think the few big brains, but then you have to look at this, right? Um, Dr. Bill Stegall co-hosts the show with one of the biggest mistake making or mislabeling or misinforming podcast, reptile podcast host in the community. Okay, so obviously he's made some questionable decisions in his life, right? Yeah, we need the big brains to get along, guys. We can't have you guys, the few that we have here fighting. Okay, anesthesiologists make some bank, one of the highest paid doctors. I think so. I think so. Python Patrol says the tech is the one who does all the work. The doctor writes your dosage. Yeah, I dig it. I dig it. The doctor gets all the credit, gets all the money, gets all the love, and the tech does all the work. This is the world we live in, guys. So all I want to say is that if these guys are going to go at it, let's make let's make it a fun event. Let's make some positive out of it. Let's do a fundraiser. Let's do an event that takes a year to come into fruition and build up the hype, and we can have a nerd fest. We can have a boxing match. We can have MMA hosted by Antoine. There's just so many things, and to try to find uh, some sort of common ground. But if this is going to continue, okay, and these scientists are going to continue having beef, I am going to throw a scientist into the ring, and I will put my scientist against both of you. Okay. I will put my scientist to fight the both of you at the same time. And he will let you know if he dies, he dies. Did you guys know that Dolph Lundgren is more qualified to be called a scientist than Bill Nye? Holy cow. Dolph, okay, Drago, is actually a legit scientist. And I will put my money on it that he will wipe the floor with Bruce and Bill at the same time. And probably could go at a battle of the brains. I don't know. What I do know, guys, is that it's getting ridiculous when we live in a country that totes free speech, when we live in a country that has pretty much bullied the rest of the world to have its position where it's at, that you can't call someone a fraud or full of shit on a podcast without being threatened a lawsuit. It's scary. It's really, really scary. I don't think the question of today's show is he being sued? I do not think this will get to that level. I do not think it will get to that level. I don't think there's anything to sustain such a lawsuit. And I don't think anyone wants to spend the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that may end up turning into nothing. So, big brains to all of you, big brains, to you PhDs, to you MDs, to you DOs, and all the other big brains in this reptile community. Use those big brains. Use those big brains to help us make this a better community. Use those big brains to find a way for us to coexist. If you want to call someone a fraud, call them a fraud to their face. Let them know why you're calling them a fraud and let them respond to that. Only thing that'll come from that is something good. Either they're going to prove that they're not a fraud or they're going to prove that you were right and they are a fraud. Okay. We need to bring things back to a world where we had some type of morals, we had some type of code, and we're not there anymore. Okay. You bring someone on your podcast, have the courtesy and respect and appreciation for their time to shit on them to their face. Don't spend 2 hours with somebody, however long it was, 2.5 hours with somebody, and then as soon as they sign off, you start shitting on them. Okay? As far as Bruce is concerned, Bruce, I understand why you're feeling where you're feeling. I hope you find some sort of positive that comes from this. But if somebody calls you a fraud, don't get into the legalities of it. Gosh, no one's going to remember any of this in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, no one remembers any of this. So if you think that you did not make any sales at the Reptile Expo because you were called a fraud, you're probably just making excuses. Let's stop making excuses for lackluster sales, and let's start making reasons why we can say we had good sales. Stop looking for the out. Look at yourself first, guys. Point the finger at yourself when you're looking for reasons, not excuses, but for reasons why you may not have achieved your goals. Okay. It is really, really, really scary. Okay. It's all in the wording. You can say, I think he's full of shit, but not he is full of shit. Yes, wording has everything to do. But we'll see. So they put that in Expendables, but was real about that. Yeah, I looked it up. It's actually real. He really is a scientist. Like, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a stupid meme. Looked it up, and I'm like, holy shit. He's kind of like a Klitschko, right? The Klitschko isn't one of the Klitschko brothers. What are they? 6'6", 6'8", and doctor and all this other stuff. So yeah. All right, guys. 179 weeks. I think we're gonna go to 180. Will we make it to 200? I don't know. But if you're not gonna send me stuff to talk about, I'm not gonna keep fighting. But if you're gonna give me $20 to talk about nothing like Mr. Fat Man did, then hey, I am all for it. All right, guys, I did get a couple of topics sent to me this week that we will be revisiting in the next couple of weeks. I'm excited about that. And yeah, crush your goals. It's hump day. Let's go rock and roll. Crush your goals. Guys, I want to thank you for returning another week, having a cup of coffee with me. I will be glad to host either Bruce Carpenter, but I believe he said he's doing no podcast, or Bill Stegall, even though it may be a conflict of interest because he has to worry about anything he says being used against him in a court of law. And also, his co-host probably wouldn't like him coming on this show to talk about it. But I'd be willing to have either one or both of them. So you guys have a great rest of your week. Go crush some goals. Let me know. Put it in the comment section under the video. What kind of dog you have? Just put the type of dog. Nobody even know what you're talking about if they didn't see the show. You guys have yourselves a great, great rest of your week. And go crush them. Carpe diem, baby.
Everybody, Billy from Mutation Creation. It is Wednesday, which means Team MC's pick of the week. As usual, we'll do this. Oh, Brian. Gotta check that out. I wasn't able to make it today. I didn't get much sleep, so I missed it. Sorry, Brian. We'll catch it up. I'll watch it a little later. What's in your cup? Episode 145. Anyways, let's get to this.
And the reptile recession, again, is something that I kind of coined about a year and a half ago. I had the pleasure of being in a podcast with Brian from Samson's Thinkatorium. I'll put his link down below, because if you guys are looking for a platform where someone in our community is not afraid to speak their mind and discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of our community, Samson's Thinkatorium, Brian is your man. He's got a weekly podcast called What's in Your Cup every Wednesday morning. Unfortunately, I'm on the West Coast and he's on the East Coast, and it starts at 7 a.m. But it is recorded, and he keeps a full library of all those recordings. So do watch them. A lot of senior veterans in our community talk and chat with him on that. Lots of good content, lots of things to learn. So I do recommend you may want to subscribe to his channel and watch it on a weekly basis. If you can catch it live, it's a lot more fun, but the recording is just as good.